So guys, the situation with foreign drivers is just getting out of hand here in Canada. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the amount of emails that I'm getting, any trucking company here, the influx of emails that are coming in from foreign drivers that want to come into Canada is becoming overwhelming. But again, I don't mind the emails. What I do mind is what is happening and the scams that are happening within these LMIAs or these foreign drivers coming into Canada. Let's talk about how it's supposed to work, okay, what these LMIA programs are for, and we'll talk about what's happening in our industry. So how is it supposed to work? So a company basically puts out an advertisement, and if they can't find truck drivers to work, they are allowed to ask the government to bring in foreign drivers to fill in these positions. It takes about probably 2 or 3 months. You need a whole month to advertise in multiple locations, and you need to prove to a government agency that you cannot find truck drivers here in Canada. Please allow me to bring foreign drivers. Through an LMIA program, you would get an approval to bring a foreign driver here into Canada to fill in those positions. What's happening is that there are hundreds and hundreds of drivers that are being brought here into Canada that have zero experience in trucking. I know this from our road tests. I know this from the work permits that I see people coming into these doors. I know this because drivers here in Canada, or fake drivers here in Canada, are walking in for road tests which have no status here in Canada, and they're asking us to do their LMIAs for them. First of all, they shouldn't be here in Canada to begin with because they're not allowed to be here in Canada and look for a position. You're allowed to be here as a visitor in Canada. What's happening is that people are starting to fake their files. So one of the things that you need to show on a file is the person has experience back home. What's happening is that people are faking their files, pretending that they have trucking experience back home. They get the reference letters, they get the pay stubs, they get whatever you want them to get. They'll have a perfect file, but when the person sits in that truck, the guy has no clue on how to drive that truck. Then they go to a truck driving school here in Canada, they get licensed, but they can't drive. Another set of problems that we have is that these companies that are applying for LMIAs or for the ability to bring foreign drivers here, there is absolutely no audits that are done on site, and this is a huge problem. Nobody's checking a trucking company's safety rating. How do I know this? Because I've applied for an LMIA and I got approved. Nobody's checking our safety rating. Nobody's checking our insurance. Nobody is checking our location. I mean, I could be running a trucking company out of my basement and I would be able to get an approved for an LMIA. Now, how many articles have we seen about people selling LMIAs or making drivers pay for these LMIAs? I've seen it and I've read articles about it. And actually, there's been a few busts that have happened over the last couple of years. The reason behind it is because there were no audits, because nobody checked their safety rating, nobody checked the insurance of that trucking company, and in most cases they were working out of their basement, and they got busted for charging people $20,000, $25,000, $35,000 for these LMIAs to bring foreigners here into Canada. What's the outcome of all this? Guys, my wife and my kids are on the road, okay, with these unsafe drivers, all right? The truck driver that killed the Humboldt Broncos, 16 kids died, 13 critically injured. This is the outcome of our programs that are not properly run. Don't blame the foreign driver, don't blame the company, blame the people that brought in this foreigner into our country who had zero experience in trucking. The least we can do is bring in actual truck drivers here into the country. Now, I took an approach that I believe nothing that I see anymore unless I see it with my own eyes. So the paperwork, I just don't believe it. Reference letters, I just don't believe it. The pay stubs, I just don't believe it. I don't believe anything that I see from these foreigners. I want to see videos. I want to see them driving a truck. I want to see them shifting gears with them in the front seat with somebody recording them from the side. I don't believe the paperwork anymore, and neither should you guys. Another sad thing is that I have stumbled upon a couple of YouTube channels that actually teach foreigners how to put together a file to immigrate to Canada as truck drivers. I mean, this YouTube channel had about 500,000 subscribers. It basically teaches them how to fake your file to come to Canada as a truck driver. Can you believe that? So if you are from anywhere and you are a factory line worker, if you are a plumber, if you're an electrician, it doesn't matter what you are, You go onto this YouTube channel and they will teach you how to put your file together for Canada. So there are a lot of problems also on the other side about trucking companies taking advantage of these foreign workers. But I do honestly want to say that there have been so many truck drivers that I have stumbled upon. Forget other trucking companies, I'm only going to talk about the experience that I have, about drivers coming in here that have no freaking clue how to drive a truck. Okay, there's no way you had 4 or 5 years experience back home driving flatbeds, driving tankers, driving whatever it is, and you do not know how to drive a truck or cannot pass a road test here at my company. If you have 4 or 5 years experience back home, plus you got a license here in Canada, you should have no problem passing that road test. So this actually really takes away from the honest, the good, the hardworking people out there that are actually truck drivers, because yes, is there a real shortage? I mean, I have a problem with that also. I don't believe that there's a real shortage here in Canada with truck drivers. I do believe that there's a problem with pay packages. I do believe that this industry cannot keep its workers. A lot of truck drivers are leaving the industry because it just doesn't pay enough. And the more we cycle in here, the more we bring in foreigners into this country, the more truck drivers we put on this conveyor belt, just as many people leave the industry as they come into the industry. Overall, it just makes our roads an unsafe place. If we were just to increase the rates, if the rates would increase for truck drivers, then it would stop them from leaving this industry. I know lots of truck drivers who have been in the industry and have left this industry because they're just not making enough or what they should be making in order to be away from their families, away from their homes. So guys, if I was in charge, I mean, here's just some things that I would do to make the system a lot better. So number one, I would definitely, as the body, the government body for LMIAs, I mean, if I was in charge of that, I would definitely send out on-site audits in order to approve these companies to bring in foreign drivers. Safety ratings, definitely check their safety ratings. I would definitely check their history of insurance, their accident history over the last 2 or 3 years, and see if I feel comfortable allowing them to bring foreigners and training them here. You know, the reason for the on-site visit would be to see their location. How many employees do they have? What kind of operation are they actually running? I mean, have a look at their trailers, have a look at their trucks. I mean, any MTO officer would be able to tell in a second if a company would do okay bringing in foreign drivers or not. There's not even an on-site. So that's where I would definitely start off with. Just a quick message for those recruiters out there that are recruiting and are bringing in foreign drivers. I mean, you have an extra added burden on you because if one of those drivers gets into an accident, I mean, you should feel a little bit responsible for that accident because you had recruited that driver. It's our job as recruiters to vet these people out properly, to make sure that they come here with the experience, to make sure that they actually drive 53-foot or even 48-foot trailer and not a pickup truck and not a 24-foot straight truck, right? So you kind of want to get the experience of somebody who has exact work experience, not just try to take advantage of the system. One thing that I do not agree with, one of the requirements for an LMIA for a driver to come here, they require their English testing to be really, really good. I remember in the late 80s when my parents migrated here, my father, he had probably no English and came to Canada. These immigrants, they just don't exist anymore. I mean, when you want somebody to have 5.5 as an English test, you really are not getting what you're looking for. Who in the world can score 5.5 on their IELTS and be a truck driver? So you really are gearing towards people that are gonna fake their applications. I mean, why not bring in here people that don't speak English? They can learn it when they come here. I mean, just like my father did. He did pretty well for himself, but the people that we're bringing in here, we kind of want them to be educated and we want them to have, English, but I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it for one bit because I feel like we are gearing towards the wrong immigration. I mean, I want somebody that's extremely hardworking, that lives in I don't care where, but he doesn't have to have English. It's okay if he doesn't have English. That's one thing that I would change about the LMIA process. I feel like we would get 10 times better candidates because I've stumbled upon hundreds of truck drivers, real truck drivers that have sent me their videos and have sent me, the over-dimensional stuff that they haul. They don't have a word of English, but they would do really well and our streets would be a lot safer with those drivers over here than these people that can pass their English test but can't drive for shit. So this is just some of my concerns. What do you guys think about this? How do you guys feel? Do you guys think that our roads are safe? Do you guys feel like our roads are getting worse and worse? What do you feel about the immigration process that you have, both in Canada and in the US? So this is just my opinion. I mean, for those of you out there that are stumbling upon our channel for the first time, this channel is all about trucking. And if you enjoy the content that you're watching, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're a subscriber. Hit that bell notification. I'm Ronen, R-O-N-E-N, and I'll catch you in my next video.